Who was affectionately known as Little Mushroom? Well, today I want to tell you about an Austrian composer by the name of Franz Schubert. Franz was born in 1797 in a suburb of Vienna. His father was a schoolmaster and his mother had been a house servant until she got married. Now, he is the 12th of 14 children. Only 5 made it to adulthood. Music was definitely present in the home. His father played violin and soon started realizing that this boy Franz was showing some interest in music, so he started teaching him violin. His older brother Ignaz started teaching him piano, but quickly it became clear that Franz was learning faster than they could teach him. So then a friend of the family who was a musician took him on as a musician student. When he was 11 years old, he earned a scholarship for the Imperial Seminary of Vienna. And what this school was, it was a training ground for these boys to grow up and become singers and musicians for the imperial court. While at the school, of course, he was in the choir and he learned to sing, but he also learned composition, theory, violin, piano, all the things. He was taking him there. He was exposed to all the greats like Haydn, like Mozart, but definitely Beethoven was his favorite. He was a fanboy of Beethoven. He started composing at that young age as a teenager a lot. He was composing a lot, but he wasn't necessarily sharing his work. He would compose and then go on to the next piece. Franz was known for being gentle, but also a little shy and a little socially awkward, and also his stature was interesting. He was under 5 feet tall and a little bit chubby. He had a lot of friends because he was gentle and kind, and they affectionately called him Little Mushroom. This nickname, of course, was about his appearance, but also his warm and gentle personality. After school, he started teaching at his father's school. And he did not like that. He wanted to be a composer. So in 1818, he left that job and started composing and working as a freelancer. Now, Beethoven, his big idol, had wealthy patrons, but Schubert, he was very shy and he would compose all the time. And then just kind of keep it to himself. It wasn't even, he didn't want to be famous, but you do need an income. So this became a problem. He was so bad at self-promoting. I mean, many of his greatest works weren't even discovered till after he passed away, because he would finish this phenomenal piece and then he would just put it in his drawer and go on to the next one. His friends really had to come in and help. They began organizing these small musical gatherings, and at these gatherings, that's where most of his work premiered. There were singers, there were people that were performing his chamber music, and the audience was other composers, intellectuals, poets, people that had appreciation of arts, maybe not enough money to become a wealthy patron, probably people that were even getting help from other patrons. But in this way, in these intimate gatherings in living rooms across town, he was able to get his music out and make just enough money to kind of keel out a living. So we can see that he had wonderful friends and they became family to him. He actually never married, never had children. He was completely devoted, yes, to his music, but also to his friends. His greatest contribution to music was the German art song, which is called the Lieder or der Lied, which just means song. And in this, he would have a piano and a vocalist, and they were telling the same story at the same time. Let's give you an example. Gretchen am Spinnrad. So here we have a girl at the spinning wheel, and we can hear in the piano music the spinning wheel going faster and faster. And in her words and in her music, we can hear her express her emotional turmoil. This whole time, living in the music world of Vienna, he became a bigger and bigger fanboy of Beethoven, and he was around people that were around him. And he probably could have gone up to him, but he was so shy that he never actually went and talked to him. When Beethoven died, he was one of the torchbearers for the funeral, and he took that as such an amazing gift. And he said, "When I die, I would love to be buried next to Beethoven." He ended up suffering from syphilis, which was very common at the time and also very difficult to treat, and so his health declined. Even though that happened, he didn't stop composing, and during this time, he wrote his last piano sonatas, he wrote another string quartet, because he wrote a lot. And then a little bit later, at the very young age of only 31, he died. The official cause was typhoid fever, but I'm sure that the previous illness, he just didn't have any immune system to fight it anymore. True to his wishes, he was buried not next to Beethoven, but near Beethoven. Yay! I wish he could have talked to him in life, right? But then later on, the bodies were moved to a different cemetery, and he did get to be buried next to Beethoven. So much music was found after his death, and musicologists that have gone through his music and cataloged his music believe that it's over 1,000 pieces. The leader that he was well known or somewhat known for, he wrote over 600 of those. He wrote over 100 piano works. He wrote more than 60 pieces for chamber ensembles. He wrote 9 symphonies. And then he wrote some other work, masses, sacred work. He attempted operas. They never were completely finished. And then, things like dances and stuff like that. But he wrote a lot. And most of it was never performed, ever heard during his life. As his friends, his fellow musicians were going through his stuff to dispose of it, they started discovering all this music, and they were in awe. They were amazed, and slowly his music started coming out. He never got the credit he deserved while he was alive. He also wasn't trying. I think he just didn't know how. It must be hard to be so shy. But now after his death, we have his music, we can appreciate his music. It's one of the first symphonies I actually played in an actual symphony was by Schubert. Go and listen to something by Franz Schubert.